BioProtocol recently put out this thread. In fact, they put it out a couple hours ago on nootropics and the nootropics community. I think they're hinting at the idea of wanting to start nootropics DAO. We'll see what we uncover in this thread, and I want to cover what nootropics are because odds are you have taken some today and you're probably a big fan of things like caffeine or nicotine or Adderall or Ritalin or modafinil or lion's mane or any of these drugs or compounds which have an immediate or prolonged effect on your brain. We're going to talk about what nootropics are and give some examples of nootropics. I'm a big fan of nootropics, to be completely honest. So let's go into this thread immediately. The nootropics community is booming online, but our collective knowledge of brain power remains scattered. We need more structured approach where enthusiasts have a stake in innovations born from their efforts. But how? It starts with D and ends in Psi. And then they tagged Benji. So Ben GPT Bio Accelerator account. Let's go ahead and watch this quick little video.
Everyone wants to be smarter, right? Everyone wants to take a smart pill. I think the movie or show like Limitless really kind of encapsulate that. Like people want to unlock 100% of brain activity and realize that there are massive, personal gains to be made there if you can improve the ability of your brain to just, process information. Each one of us is just like a signal processing unit. How do we get the most out of our brains? And so this is what the nootropics community has been kind of like diving into trying to get answers for a long time. And they've generated a ton of anecdotal data. And if you go on, the nootropic subreddit, which I highly recommend anyone does, you'll see that like there are patterns, like the same compounds keep coming up as, people are responding to them and they feel themselves able to process information better. It improves their mood, just able to get more stuff done and create more productivity by taking certain compounds at certain doses. So people have kind of like gone to the internet, to these decentralized communities to kind of get answers to this really important question of like, how do I get smarter? Ultimately thinking is a chemical process. There's a lot of, chemicals involved in that. And so by adding chemicals that, improve the efficiency of it, it makes logical sense. Intelligence is malleable. And I think the nootropics community has kind of embraced that and, is really trying to get answers here. And of course, everybody's different, right? There's no one size fits all, but there are certainly patterns.
Okay, if you caught that at the very end, they said intelligence is malleable. Intelligence is something that can be worked on and influenced drastically. So before we actually read through this entire thread, it's a good idea to kind of outline what nootropics are, right? So let's go ahead. I pulled up 3 different things. I pulled up an article. I pulled up a study from the what am I saying? The National Library of Medicine. It's NCBI, which I'm a huge fan of the studies that get posted there. And then on Healthline, the 14 best nootropics. So basically what nootropics are, also they're known as smart drugs. Nootropics essentially do a litany of different things, but one of the things they do is bring more blood and oxygen to your brain. And so by increasing the blood flow to your brain, they're bringing more blood, oxygen, sugars, and energy to the brain so it can actually fire all cylinders and actually activate different areas of your brain that otherwise wouldn't get activated just due to not having enough resources. They also stimulate different neurons in your brain occasionally, depending on which one it is. And they can, by circulating more blood through the brain, they're able to relieve the brain of the metabolites created when you're thinking. So the byproducts of thinking, the free radicals that get created when you're using your brain a lot, those build up in your brain, the toxicity builds up. And by just increasing overall blood flow and helping with removal of these metabolites, you're able to remove brain toxicity, which can help with things like Alzheimer's, which looks like it's the folding of different proteins. By removing those free radicals, which might incite the folding of proteins, you can actually prevent Alzheimer's. And none of this is 100% confirmed. This is all just what we're starting to uncover with the overarching category of nootropics. And nootropics is a very broad statement. Anything from caffeine to creatine to nicotine to Adderall or Ritalin or literally meth, all categorized as nootropics. And I say literally meth because Adderall is literally meth. But let's get back to this thread. In this thread, we'll cover 1, internet native science, how online communities accelerate nootropics innovation. 2, using DAOs. to unite scattered nootropic knowledge and data, and 3, call on nootropics founders and enthusiasts. So number 1, internet native citizens science. The arc of scientific discovery is bending. From the 1600s to the 1800s, citizen scientists led the way. In the 1900s, it became industrialized along with everything else, and in the 2000s, we're going back to citizen science thanks to the internet. The Reddit nootropics subreddit boasts 330,000 members. I went on it, it's all the way up to 405,000 members now. People share their experiences experimenting with cognitive compounds. Online test beds show how global patient communities can shape emerging science, but there are still gaps. So this subreddit is essentially just where people go to ask questions or share experiences with different compounds that they've been experimenting with. So this is actually a good resource in my opinion. You can come to this subreddit if you're looking for different testimonials of compounds or different testimonials of products which claim to contain those compounds. Because nootropics overall are not regulated as drugs per se. Obviously some of them are, right? If you're looking at Ritalin, that's going to be something you have to get prescribed to you, but some of these are over the counter things like creatine, nicotine, or some of these different herbs. So not all companies who are claiming to have these herbs are actually going to have them. And so by coming to the Reddit forum, you can actually see customer reviews to better understand if that compound is actually present in the product. Hopefully that makes sense. And I feel like it's probably important to say, don't just fool around with brain-altering chemicals. You should probably get medical guidance from a doctor. And likely, you're not going to find doctors on Reddit. How do we bring order to online experimentation and push innovation with proper incentives? One might ask. The answer seems to be Bio DAOs. Unite and incentivize scientific knowledge. Bio DAOs unite global stakeholders to accelerate research and development and incentivize patient-driven communities. Members pool resources, develop IP, and reduce costs. IP production fund further innovation, creating a flywheel of advancements. You can see more information on the doc that they tagged, but we talk about this virtual loop literally in every single video because this seems to be what fuels the entire idea of biotech in decentralized science. So you get DAOs, which vet and fund some promising research studies. The research studies yield intellectual property, which gets tokenized and licensed and basically get monetized. Those proceeds go back into the DAO's treasury, which can fund to more research funding. It's a giant virtuous loop, lots of criticism, but also a lot of good things that come from it. A nootropics bio DAO. Imagine owning a piece of the next major nootropic because you contributed your data, ideas, or capital. The field of nootropics needs a single place to search for and find nootropics data and experiment with. Nootropics Bio DAO could facilitate onboarding and experimentation to help members more effectively arrive at their optimal stack. So I'm on a stack right now, and I'll share that in a minute. But Nootropics Bio DAO initiative could include determining users' nootropic preferences, decentralized clinical trials, N of 1 trials, so individual studies, like one person's anecdotal data. That's what N1 means. It's sample size of 1. Decentralized data analytics, and patient cognitive subtypes and nootropic cocktails, i.e. mixing nicotine with caffeine. How to do it. Unite a digital tribe, gather a vibrant digital community around nootropics, wellness, and cognitive evolution in a Discord channel or any kind of community channel. We know how to do DAOs. We've seen it happen over and over again. I don't think I need to read this part of the thread, but they call on nootropics founders and give examples of DAOs that they have created. I think a nootropics DAO would be a very fascinating thing to play into. They tagged a few other thought leaders in the space who would be advantageous, hopefully, to getting involved. Nootropics Depot, I'm going to follow them. I'm a big fan of nootropics personally. For example, I'm taking caffeine right now. The 14 best nootropics. Number 1, the most widely consumed psychoactive substance in the world is caffeine. Literally got caffeine in my hand. Also, Creatine. Yeah, also creatine. I'm not on creatine right now, but I used to use creatine all the time when I was bodybuilding relentlessly, because there's more than just the nootropic side of creatine. Creatine increases the blood flow to your muscles and apparently to your brain, which is a nootropic property. Creatine is also a pathway for energy use. I know you are fully aware of the ATP energy pathway, the adenosine triphosphate, in which almost everything is based off of in the body, but right before you do the ATP pathway, you actually can use your creatine pathway. So if you saturate your creatine pathway, you actually get a little bit extra energy in the body, which is really good for building muscle and apparently thinking. Then you have L-theanine. L-theanine is just a conditionally essential amino acid. So by taking it, you just have a more plentiful array of amino acids to pull from. I've not heard of these in the middle here. The Bacopa moniri? I don't know. It's an herb, but a lot of different herbs. Like, they didn't list lion's mane, but I know lion's mane helps actually incite neural connections in your brain. And so they can actually enhance neural connections and trim neural connections that you aren't using. So there's a lot of cool things that can come from it. It's literally regenerating neurons, which they thought was impossible, which is just a stupid idea to think that it's impossible to grow something in your body. Literally everything can be grown in your body, hence it had to grow in order to get there. Therefore, there has to be something in the DNA which can make it grow again. So the idea that you can't grow something in your body that is in your body is stupid to me. But next is nicotine, and I take nicotine. I'm trying to get off of nicotine, to be honest, because it is violently addictive, but I take nicotine. Nicotine and caffeine is a very powerful substance combination. And then different things like, I'm trying to look for it, modafinil. I've taken modafinil in the past. Modafinil is a very aggressive nootropic. However, it's not as aggressive as Adderall. It's like Adderall's younger brother. Modafinil honestly was very close to cocaine. It gave me like that locked jaw almost if I took it on an empty stomach, and it would also really upset my stomach. But modafinil is pretty good. It's prescribed to people with narcolepsy, or if you work overnight shifts, you can take modafinil to help you stay awake. It's something that really did help a lot with me. I have undiagnosed ADHD. I know it's undiagnosed, so how do you know? It's self-diagnosed, whatever. Anytime I take something like Adderall, which I have been prescribed Concerta in the past, it's very beneficial for me. And so Adderall, which is literally meth, and then Ritalin, which again is literally meth. A lot of you guys probably use Ritalin and Adderall. These are just different types of nootropics. So also known as limitless pills. I think finding more citizen science, or DSci, to do with the use and research behind nootropics would be super advantageous. A nootropics DAO could really spark a lot of people to get together and rally behind a topic. Now, all DAOs need to have the potential to create revenue in order to continue this virtuous loop that we talked about, right? You need to have proceeds. And there are a lot of emerging compounds that are showing signs to be nootropics, right? There's a lot of different compounds that you could create or talk about, or just different herbs that you could do tests on and then create supplement lines around. That would be pretty interesting to see within a Bio DAO ecosystem, because it would be quick to market products. I'm not saying go create an Adderall knockoff. I'm saying that they could go and study lion's mane, then create a lion's mane supplement that's mixed with ginkgo biloba, if that happens to be the thing that works the best with it. So I think it is a potentially very fruitful DAO creation. And I'll link these studies in the description of this video if you are interested in reading through any of it, or just getting connected and initiating your research into nootropics. I think they're life-saving, low-key. They make things a lot easier to do. They're limitless pills. They make you smart. They don't actually make you smart. They just make you be able to use more of your brain. They make it so you're more efficient. And the final thing here, you guys know I've been working on BLOX Solutions for the better part of a year. We are doing a pre-sale for BLOX Solutions right now. If you are interested in a all-encompassing analytical tool for multi-chain purposes, I'm talking Ethereum, Base, Polygon, Sol, Solana, Bitcoin, you should definitely sign up for BLOX Solutions, get your referral code, and begin using it today. We're in beta. The actual launch will be October 1st, so keep an eye on your calendars. Your time is your most valuable asset. Hopefully this was worth investing it into, and I will see you guys in the next video.